Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theruvan Saranai. Good evening, Venerable Mahāsangha, Sayales, and brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today we are going to start on our fourth lesson, which is the continuation of the Kusala Tika, the Wholesome Triplet. And we will start off with the question that we gave you last week. Categorize the components of the Kusala Tika according to khandha, aggregates, āyatana bases, dhātu elements, and ariya such noble truths. All right. So the Kusala Tika, the wholesome triplet, has three terms. Kusala Dhamma, states that are wholesome. Akusala Dhamma, states that are unwholesome. And Abhyakata Dhamma, states that are indeterminate. So let's take the first term, Kusala Dhamma, the wholesome states. There are 21 wholesome consciousness or Kusala Chitta. Out of those 21, 8 are Kamavachara, sense sphere. 5 are Rupavachara, fine material sphere. 4 are Rupavachara, immaterial sphere. And 4 Supramanden, Lokuttara. There are 38 mental factors or Chetasika that arise together with these 21 wholesome consciousness. These are the 13 Anya Samana Chetasika, the ethically variable mental factors, and the 25 beautiful mental factors, the Sobana Chetasika. And then Akusala Dhamma, unwholesome states. There are 12 unwholesome consciousness, Akusala Chitta, which are the 8 Lobha Chitta, greed-rooted Chitta, the 2 Dosa Chitta, the hatred-rooted Chitta, the 2 Moha Chitta, delusion-rooted Chitta, and together with these arises 27 mental factors, the 13 Anya Samana, ethically variable factors, and the 14 Akusala Chetasika, the unwholesome factors. And finally, the third term is Abhyakata Dhamma, indeterminate states, where we have the remaining Paramattha Dhamma, which are the 36 Vipaka Chitta, resultant, the 20 Kriya Chitta, functional, and the 38 mental factors, the Chetasika, that arise together with these 56 consciousness. Then there is also 28 Rupa, matter, and Nibbana, the state of final deliverance. Now, let's go back to the first term, which is Kusala Dhamma, wholesome states. And they are the 21 wholesome consciousness, the Kusala Chitta, and the 38 Chetasika, mental factors. And the question was to categorize each of these terms or the contents of each of these terms under aggregates, bases, elements, and noble truths. So when we categorize the contents of Kusala Dhamma, we are left with 4 khandha, aggregates, 2 āyatanani, bases, and 2 dhātu, elements, and 2 ariya saccāni, noble truths. So we will discuss how we get each of these in the next couple of slides. Right, so we'll first take the khandha, the aggregates. There are 4 aggregates, khandha. Now, what we get under Kusala Dhamma are all Nama Dhamma. They're all mental aggregates. So we will not see Rupa Khandha here. Instead, what we get are the remaining 4 khandha. The Vedana Khandha, where we have the feeling mental factor going into it. Sanya Khandha, perception aggregate. And the perception mental factor is classified under that khandha. Next is the Sankhara Khandha. Now, we know that in total, under Kusala Dhamma, there were 38 mental factors. So when feeling and perception is categorized under Vedana and Sanya Khandha, the remaining 36 mental factors, that is 38 minus 2, 36 mental factors, these will fall into the Sankhara Khandha. Next, we have 21 Chitta, these are all classified under Vijnana Khandha. So that is how we get the 4 khandha or the 4 aggregates for Kusala Dhamma. Now we look at the āyatana, the bases. So as I mentioned before, what we get under Kusala Dhamma are all Nama Dhamma. So if they're all Nama Dhamma, the āyatana that we will get will also be only the Nama āyatana. And if you recall, last week we spoke about the 12 āyatana. Out of these 12, the first 10 are all Rupa āyatana. So all the matter were classified under the first 10 bases. The last 2, which is Manayatana and Dhammayatana, these contain the Nama Dhamma. Now, Dhammayatana also has Rupa, but here we don't have any Rupa because under Kusala Dhamma, there aren't any Rupa. So how do we classify the ultimate realities that are given under Kusala Dhamma? We take the 21 Kusala Chitta and categorize them under Manayatana, the mind base. And the 38 Cetasika, all of them are classified under Dhammayatana, the mental object base. Next comes the dhātu elements. So again, like the bases, here again there are 2 dhātu. So all of the 21 Kusala Chitta are categorized under Mano Vijnana Dhātu. Now, if we recall the 18 elements and take the 7 elements which in which the Vijnana or the consciousness is classified, the first 5, that is the Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jibha, Kaya Vijnana Dhātu, all of them contain Vipaka Chitta. And then if you take Mano Dhātu contains 2 Vipaka Chittas and 1 Kriya Chitta. Mano Vijnana Dhātu contains the remaining 76 Chitta. So among those 76 Chitta are the 21 Kusala Chitta as well. So that is why under the Dhātu, under Mano Vijnana Dhātu, we classify all 21 Kusala Chitta. And under Dhamma Dhātu, the mental object element, we classify the 38 Cetasika. Next, we look at the ariya sacca, the noble truths. There are 2 ariya saccāni, noble truths, dukkha ariya sacca and magga sacca, the dukkha nirodha gamini patipada ariya sacca. So how we classify them under dukkha sacca and magga sacca is we take the mundane ultimate realities onto one side and the supramundane realities onto the other side, and then we start dividing. So we know that out of the 21 Kusala Chitta, 4 of them were Magga Chitta. Therefore, we are left with 17 Lokiya or mundane, wholesome consciousness. These are classified under Dukkha Ariya Sacca. Next, together with these 17 Kusala Chitta, arises 38 Cetasika, mental factors. And they are also classified under Dukkha Ariya Sacca. Then, looking at the Magga Sacca contains the path factors or the Maggaṅgāni. And here we get either 8 or 7 constituents of the path occurring in the first path consciousness, stream entry, or the 8 or 7 constituents of the path occurring in the second path consciousness, likewise the third and the fourth consciousness. So these are all path factors or Maggaṅgāni. And finally, we take those that are outside the scope of noble truths. This means that after classifying the ultimate realities that were categorized under Kusala Dhamma, there are a few ultimate realities that are remaining, which we did not classify under the Ariya Sacca. These are the ones that we call outside the scope of the noble truths. Now, if you look at this carefully, we didn't classify the 4 supramundane consciousness or the Magga Chitta. And we also didn't classify the remaining 28 Chetasika that occurs together with this Magga Chitta. These are what we have mentioned here as the 29 Chittupada. Now, we will be describing this further in order for you to understand this better in the next couple of slides. Now, let's look at the Four Noble Truths again, the Chattari Ariya Saccāni. The Dukkha Ariya Sacca, the Noble Truth of Suffering, and Samudaya Ariya Sacca, the Noble Truth of Origin of Suffering. Both of these are mundane. That means the contents of it, the ultimate realities that are classified under these two are always mundane. And then, if you look at the next two, the Dukkha Nirodhaṃ Ariya Sacca, that's Nirodha Sacca, and Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Ariya Sacca, the Magga Sacca. These two are always supramundane. Now let's take the Ariya Sacca, that where the Kusala Dhamma are classified as. Now, we said that under Kusala Dhamma, there are 21 Kusala Chitta and 38 Chetasika. Now, let's divide them into two categories, mundane and supramundane. So, the mundane ones are the 17 Chitta and the 38 Chetasika. All of these are classified under Dukkha Sacca. The supramundane Chitta Chetasika are the 4 Magga Chitta and the 36 Chetasika. Why are there 36? It is because the two Apamanya Chetasika are not taken here. So 38 minus 2 is 36. Now we'll break these into 3 groups. First, we'll take the 8 path factors and then the 4 Magga Chitta. And out of these 36, when you take away 8 path factors, there are 28 other Chetasika. The 8 path factors are classified under Magga Sacca. The 4 Magga Chitta and the remaining 28 Chetasika were not classified under the 4 Noble Truths. Therefore, we call these outside the scope of the 4 Noble Truths. Let's take another look at the Lokuttara Chittupada, the supramundane states of consciousness. So there are 8 Lokuttara Chitta. Out of the 8, 4 are Magga Chitta, path consciousness, and 4 are Phala Chitta, fruition consciousness. And together with these Magga Chitta and the Phala Chitta arises 36 mental factors, Chetasika. There are 13 Anya Samana Chetasika, ethically variable mental factors, and 23 beautiful mental factors, Sobana Chetasika. And as I mentioned before, normally we have a total of 25 Sobana Chetasika, but because the 2 Apamanya, the illimitables, don't arise with the Lokuttara Chitta, we deduct those 2. So 25 minus 2, we are left with 23 beautiful mental factors. The 8 Maggaṅgāni or path factors. So we have 8 Chetasika or mental factors that are called path factors, and these arise in the Magga together with the Magga Chitta. They are Samma Ditti, right view, Samma Sankappa, right thought, which is also the Vitakka Chetasika or initial application mental factor, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, and Samma Ajiva. Those 3 are taken together, the Virati, Samma Vayamo, right effort, Samma Sati, right mindfulness, and Samma Samadhi, right concentration. So all of these 8 are classified under the 4th Noble Truth, which is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. We spoke about the jhana last week, but we will speak about it briefly again. Now, last week we said that there are 2 systems of classifying jhana based on the individual's faculties. However, what we are concerned about when we are doing these Matika is the 5 jhana system. That's what we consider mainly. So, according to this 5 jhana system, we have 5 jhanas, where the first jhana contains all 5 jhana factors, the vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, and ekaggata. And then the second, vitakka, is eliminated. By the time you get the third jhana, both vitakka and vichara is eliminated. Fourth jhana, piti also is eliminated. And the fifth jhana, nothing is eliminated there, but instead, sukha vedana is converted into upekha vedana. And these subdivisions apply to both the rupavachara and lokuttara chitta. It doesn't apply to the arupavachara chitta because all of them are upekha ekaggata chittani. So according to the 5 jhana system, we will call it a 5th jhana, or according to a 4 jhana system, we'll call it the 4th jhana. Now, why do we talk about the jhana system here? It is because it is closely related to the path factors. Now, the first jhana, we saw that there is vitakka, and vitakka is samma sankappa in the path, among the path factors. And ekaggata is samma samadhi. So, looking at the first jhana, you can see that all 5 jhana factors are there. Therefore, samma sankappa and samma samadhi are included. Therefore, all 8 path factors are there. However, when you come to the second jhana, vitakka is eliminated. That means samma sankappa is no longer there. So what we are left with here are only 7 path factors. By the time we come to the third jhana, both vitakka and vichara are eliminated. However, vichara is not a path factor. Therefore, still remaining, we have the 7 path factors excluding samma sankappa. The fourth jhana is also similar. Although piti is eliminated, piti is not a path factor. Therefore, we are left with 7 path factors excluding samma sankappa. By the time we come to the 5th jhana, nothing is eliminated. The only difference is sukha vedana is replaced by upekha vedana. Therefore, the number of path factors are still 7, excluding samma sankappa. So here what is mentioned are the maggaṅgaṇī along with the corresponding jhana factor. So the ones given in red, samma sankappa, right thought, is vitakka cetasika, or initial application, which is also a jhana factor, the very first jhana factor. And samma samadhi, right concentration, is ekaggata, jhana factor. So both samma sankappa and samma samadhi are jhana factors. However, when you start from the first jhana, moving on to the 5th jhana, the only one which is eliminated is samma sankappa, because samma samadhi ekaggata is present in all 5 jhanas. That is why we say that 8 or 7 path factors when we are discussing the 4th noble truth, because samma sankappa is present only in the first jhana, whereas from the 2nd to the 5th jhanas, samma sankappa is absent. That is why it becomes 7 mental factors or 7 path factors. Now let's look at the jhana system, 5 jhana system, and the lokuttara chitta. And at the same time, we look at the total number of cetasika present in each of these jhanas, and also the number of path factors present in each of these jhanas. So the first jhana has all 5 jhana factors. So it includes samma sankappa, right until samma samadhi, all 8 path factors. So the number of path factors present in the first jhana is 8. And the total number of cetasika is 36. Then when we come to the second jhana, vitakka is eliminated. Now vitakka is samma sankappa. Therefore, we are minus 1 cetasika. So the total number of cetasika will be 36 minus 1, 35. And because vitakka is a path factor, out of the 8 path factors, when you deduct vitakka or samma sankappa, we are left with 7 path factors. So 8 minus 1 is 7. Then moving on to the third jhana, 2 jhana factors are removed. This is vitakka and vichara. So vitakka is samma sankappa, but vichara is not a path factor. Therefore, we are left with 7 path factors. That is, out of the 8, when you take away samma sankappa, we are left with 7. However, because vitakka and vichara are 2 cetasika, from the total number of cetasika, which is 36, we have to deduct those 2. So 36 minus 2 is 34. Then the 4th jhana, another cetasika, piti, is eliminated. So from the total number 36, we have to deduct vitakka, vichara, and piti. That is 3. 36 minus 3 is 33. However, because only vitakka is a path factor, that is samma sankappa, only 1 path factor is deducted from the total. So 8 minus 1, it's still 7. And 5th jhana, there is elimination of vitakka, vichara, piti. The only difference is changing of the sukha vedana into upekha vedana. So there isn't any difference in the total number. It is still 33, just as the 4th jhana. And the number of path factors also will not change because there wasn't any deduction here. So it will remain as 7. And that is how we get the 8 or 7 path factors when we spoke about the 4th Noble Truth. Now we will look at the 5 jhana system in relation to the 8 different lokuttara chitta. So here what we have in the first column are the 8 lokuttara chitta, the 4 magga chittani and the 4 phala chittani. And although there are 8, when you don't consider the jhanas, they become 40 in total when you consider these different jhanas. So, for instance, if you take the Sotapanna, the stream entry, Magga Chitta, because there are 5 jhanas under the jhana system, you get 5 chitta in total. Likewise, for Sakadagami, you get 5. The Anagami, another 5, and Arahatta 5. So, according to this 5 jhana system, these 4 Magga Chittani end up becoming 20 chitta in total when you consider the jhanas. And similarly, the phala chitta, we said there are 4 phala chitta. Those are the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahatta phala chitta. That is when you don't consider the jhanas. But if you consider the jhana, each of these have 5 jhanas from the 1st to the 5th. So Sotapanna will have 5 chitta according to these jhanas. Likewise, 5 for Sakadagami, 5 for Anagami, and 5 for Arahatta. So in total, we have 20 phala chitta. So 20 Magga chitta plus 20 phala chitta, we get a total of 40 chitta. Outside the scope of the Noble Truths, we said that there are 29 chittupada, risings of consciousness occurring in the Magga Chitta or path consciousness. So let's look at the Lokuttara Chittupada again. Here I have made the last 2, the Phala Chitta and the 36 mental factors, I made them gray on purpose. That is because they are not applicable to Kusala Dhamma. Those are Vipaka, therefore they are part of Abhyakata Dhamma. So let's focus only on the Lokuttara Magga and the 36 Cetasika. So if you take the 4 Lokuttara Magga Chitta, they were not classified under the 4 Noble Truths. Therefore, they are outside the scope of the Noble Truths. Out of the 36 Cetasika, the 8 path factors were classified under the 4th Noble Truths. The remaining 28, that is 36 minus 8, those 28 factors were not classified anywhere under the Noble Truths. Therefore, they are also outside the Noble Truths. So the 4 Magga Chittas and the 28 remaining factors are the ones that are outside the scope of the Noble Truths. So again, looking at this chart where we have divided the 21 Kusala Chitta and the 38 Cetasika into mundane and supramundane ultimate realities. So the mundane out of the 21 Kusala Chittas are the 17 Chitta, and together with them arises 38 Cetasika. All of these are part of Dukkha Sacca. Among the supramundane ultimate realities, which are the 4 Magga Chitta and the 36 Cetasika, the 8 path factors fall under Magga Sacca. And when we are discussing or when we are talking about these 8 path factors, we need to consider the jhanas. So then, depending on the jhana, if it's a first jhana, it will have 8 path factors. If it's the second to the 5th jhanas, it will have 7 path factors. Therefore, we will say 8 or 7 path factors occurring in the Magga Chitta. Which Magga Chitta? They are the 4 Magga Chittas, which are Sotapanna, stream entry, the Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahatta Magga Chittas. So we say 8 or 7 path factors occurring in the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahatta Magga Chitta. So those are all about the path factors, and they fall under Magga Sacca. Now, remaining are the 4 Magga Chitta and the 28 other Cetasika. That is, how did we get the 28? 36 Cetasika in total minus 8 Cetasika, which were part of the path. 36 minus 8 is 28. So we take these 28 Cetasika and Chitta we consider as 1 and add 1 to the 28, and then we get the 29 Chittupada, which are outside the scope of the 4 Noble Truths. So this is another slide to stress on the same fact that I mentioned in the previous slide. So if you take the Kusala Dhamma, the Lokuttara Kusala Dhamma are the 4 Magga Chitta and the 36 Cetasika. Out of them, 8 are path factors and 28 remaining factors. The 8 path factors are classified under the 4th Noble Truth, the Magga Sacca. The 4 Lokuttara Magga Chitta and the 28 remaining factors are not classified anywhere. So they are called outside the scope of the Noble Truths. So you may be wondering why we are talking so much about these Chittupada that are outside the scope of the Noble Truths. It's because if you think about the question was to classify Kusala Dhamma under aggregates, bases, elements, and Noble Truths. So when you say to classify all of these ultimate realities, you need to tell what happened to those that were not classified. That is why we have this new category called outside the scope of Noble Truths, because you have to tell what happened to those that were not classified. So we said that there are 29 Chittupada or risings of consciousness occurring in the Magga Chitta or path consciousness that is outside the scope. And the 29, how you get it is you add 1, that is Chitta, you take it as 1, and to that you add 28 Cetasika and you get 29 Chittupada in total. Now we will look at Akusala Dhamma, unwholesome states. What are the ultimate realities that are classified under Akusala Dhamma? They are the 12 Akusala Chitta, unwholesome states, unwholesome consciousness, and the 27 Cetasika, mental factors. When we classify these ultimate realities under the khandha, we get 4 aggregates because they are all nama dhamma. So because they are nama aggregates, we don't have rupa khandha. Then we have 2 āyatana, 2 dhātu, and 2 ariya sacca, noble truths. So under khandha aggregates, we get 4. So like before, under Vedana khandha, we get the feeling mental factor. Under Sanya khandha, perception aggregate, we get the perception mental factor. So out of the total of 27 mental factors, when you take away these two, feeling and perception, we are left with 25 mental factors. These are classified under Sankhara khandha or mental formations aggregate. Now, we spoke about all of the mental factors. Now, we are left with the 12 unwholesome consciousness or the akusala chitta. These are classified under Vijnana khandha. So, thereby we get 4 khandha or 4 aggregates under the akusala dhamma. Now, let's look at the basis, the āyatana. We get 2 āyatana. So similar to Kusala Dhamma, Akusala Dhamma are also again Nama Dhamma. So because they're all Nama Dhamma, we don't get any of the first 10 āyatana. The first 10 āyatana, all of them are Rupa āyatana. Therefore, we don't get any of them here. Instead, we are left with 2 āyatana, where the 12 Akusala Chitta or the unwholesome consciousness are classified under Manayatana, the mind base. And the 27 mental factors are classified under Dhammayatana, the mental object base. Next, we come to the dhātu elements. So here we get 2 dhātu, 2 elements. All 12 akusala chitta are classified under Mano Vijnana dhātu. Now, if you recall, out of the 7 Vijnana dhātu, the first 5 from Chakku until Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jibha, Kaya, Vijnana dhātu. All of those 5 contain Vipaka Chitta. And then when you consider Mano dhātu, it contains 2 Vipaka Chitta and 1 Kriya Chitta. Here we are talking about Akusala Chitta. And all of these Akusala Chitta, therefore, are classified under Mano Vijnana dhātu. And the remaining 27 Chetasika are classified under Dhamma dhātu. So we get 2 dhātu when we consider Akusala Dhamma. Finally, we come to the ariya sacca, the noble truths. Here we get 2 ariya sacca. We get dukkhaṃ ariya sacca and samudayaṃ ariya sacca. The noble truth of suffering, where we get the 12 akusala chitta and 26 chetasika, excluding lobha. Samudaya sacca contains lobha chetasika. Now, why did we say that dukkhaṃ ariya sacca has only 26 chetasika? It is because we have already classified lobha chetasika under samudaya sacca. Therefore, when you take away this lobha chetasika from the total of 26 chetasika, 27 chetasika, 27 minus 1, we are left with 26 chetasika. And that's how you get 26 chetasika classified under dukkhaṃ ariya sacca. Now, again, looking at the 4 noble truths in terms of mundane and supramundane, we know that dukkhaṃ ariya sacca and samudaya ariya sacca are mundane. And the last 2, the nirodha, dukkha nirodhaṃ ariya sacca and the magga sacca, they are supramundane. So here what we got were all mundane ariya sacca. That is, all akusala dhamma are mundane. That is why they were classified under the first 2 ariya sacca. Now let's look at this diagram. We said that the 12 akusala chitta and the 27 chetasika are the ultimate realities classified under akusala dhamma. Out of these 27 chetasika, the lobha chetasika was classified under samudaya sacca. Therefore, what is remaining are 12 akusala chitta and 26 chetasika. That is 27 minus 1. These are all classified under dukkha sacca. Now the final term, which is abhyakata dhamma, indeterminate states. Here we have the remaining chitta, which are the 36 vipaka, resultant chitta, 20 kriya, functional chitta, and the mental factors which arise together with them. There are 38. And we also have Rupa, 28 Rupa, and Nibbana. When you classify all of these under aggregates, we get 5 khandha, 5 aggregates. However, Nibbana is not classified under the 5 khandha. Then we get 12 bases, 18 elements, and 2 noble truths. First, we'll take the khandha, the aggregates. So as I mentioned, there are 5 aggregates here. And Nibbana is not classified under the aggregates. That is because the khandhas are all conditioned realities and Nibbana is not conditioned. It's unconditioned. Therefore, you cannot classify Nibbana under any of these aggregates. But it is important to mention that Nibbana is not included among the 5 khandhas. So how do we get these 5 khandha? We had 28 rupa. All of these rupa are classified under rupa khandha. Then among the 38 mental factors, we get feeling mental factor falling under vedana khandha, perception, sanya, chetasika, falling under perception aggregate, and the remaining 36 mental factors, that is 38 minus feeling minus perception. 36 mental factors, these are classified under sankhara khandha, and all of the consciousness, which were the 36 vipaka and the 20 kriya chitta, they're all classified under vijnana khandha. So we get 5 aggregates, 5 khandha, and it's important to mention that Nibbana is not included here. Next, we move on to the āyatana, the bases. There are 12 āyatana here. Now, because we had all 28 rupa, the 12 odarika rupa, or the gross material, are classified under chakkāyatana, sotāyatana, gānāyatana, jivhāyatana, kāyāyatana, and then from 7 to 11, rupa, saddha, gandha, rasa, and pottabba āyatana. There you get a total of 12 rupa. The remaining 16 rupa are called sukuma rupa. These are classified under dhammayatana. Now, what are we left with? We are left with 56 consciousness. Those are the 36 vipaka and the 20 kriya chitta. All of these consciousness are classified under manayatana. And remaining are the 38 chetasika and nibbana. These are classified under dhammayatana. Thus, we get all of the ultimate realities classified under each of these 12 bases. Finally, we come to the elements, and elements, there are 18 elements. Let's see what elements or how they are classified. Similar to the āyatana, the first 10 elements from chakku dhātu until pottabba dhātu, we get 12 gross material or olarika rupa. And those were the first 10 dhātu, and now comes the remaining 8 dhātu, starting from chakku vijnana dhātu until dhamma dhātu. So from chakku vijnana dhātu until mano vijnana dhātu, these are all consciousness elements. So chakku vijnana dhātu are the 2 eye consciousness, which are 2 vipaka chitta. Sota vijnana dhātu are 2 ear consciousness, again vipaka chitta. Likewise, the nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, and body consciousness, they are all vipaka chitta. So basically from chakku vijnana dhātu until kaya vijnana dhātu, you get 10 vipaka chitta. Next comes mano dhātu, the mind element. Here is classified to receiving consciousness or sampatichana chitta. There again are 2 vipaka chitta. And the panchadvara vajjana chitta, the 5 sensitive adverting consciousness, which is a kriya chitta. So altogether, from chakku vijnana dhātu until mano dhātu, we got 12 vipaka chitta and 1 kriya chitta. Therefore, out of the 56 consciousness that was classified under Abhyakata Dhamma, when we deduct these 13 consciousness, we are left with 43 consciousness. These are classified under Mano Vijnana Dhātu. And if we further subdivide these 43 consciousness, we get 24 vipaka. How did we get 24? We said that under Abhyakata Dhamma, there are 36 vipaka chitta. Now, under the first 6 mentioned here, we classified 12 vipaka chitta. So 36 minus 12 is 24 vipaka. And kriya chitta, out of a total of 20, we deduct the panchadvara vajjana. That is 19. So 24 vipaka plus 19 kriya equals to 43 consciousness. All of these are Mano Vijnana Dhātu. And what are we left with? We are left with the 38 mental factors, 16 subtle material or Sukumang Rupa, and Nibbana. All of these are classified under Dhamma Dhātu. Yes, so looking at the 4 noble truths again, the Chattari Arya Saccani, the first 2 are mundane and the next 2 are supramundane. Now let's look at the Arya Sacca in terms of the Abhyakata Dhamma, ultimate reality. So we said that there are 36 vipaka, 20 kriya, 38 chetasika, 28 rupa, and nibbana. Let's break them down into mundane and supramundane categories. So under mundane, we get 32 vipaka. Why is that? Because out of the 36 vipaka, 4 of them are palachitta. So 36 minus 4, we are left with 32 mundane vipaka. And all 20 kriya are mundane. And we get 35 mental factors. Now, why do we get only 35 mental factors under the mundane category? This is because if you take the vipaka, none of the mundane vipaka have virati. And then if you take virati and appamanya, and if you take the kriya chitta, none of them have virati. They may have appamanya. So when you consider the total mental factors, the 3 virati are not found in either of the mundane vipaka or the mundane or the kriya chitta. All kriya are mundane. So that's how you get 38 minus 3 virati, 35 mental factors coming under the mundane category. And then finally you get 28 rupa. All of these mundane ultimate realities are part of the first noble truth or the dukkha sacca. And then when you look at the supramundane, the 4 palachitta and the 36 chetasika, none of these chitta or chetasika are classified under the noble truths. Therefore, they are outside the scope of the noble truths. And finally, nibbana is classified under the 3rd noble truth. So here we have mentioned the first noble truth, that's all the mundane ultimate realities, and the 3rd noble truth, which is nibbana, and the 4 palachitta and the 36 mental factors are not classified here. They are outside the scope of the noble truths.
Doctor, sorry, may I just clarify the 35 Cetasika? Just to clarify my understanding. So for the mundane vipaka, there is no virati but may have appamanya, and for kiriya, there's no virati and no appamanya. Is that right?
So under the mundane vipaka, there are no virati and no appamanya. For the kriya, there are no virati, there may be appamanya. So going back to the Noble Truths under Abhyakata Dhamma, the Dukkhang Ariya Saccang are all the mundane realities, which are the 32 Vipaka and 20 Kriya, total of 52, and 35 Chetasika that arises together with them, the 28 Rupa, and under Dukkha Nirodhang Ariya Saccang, we get Nibbana. So since we didn't classify the Palachitta and the Chetasika, the 36 Chetasika, we take those 37 Chittupada as outside the scope of Noble Truths. It's time for questions. And we already have a question. Why are the 20 Kriya Chitta included in first Dukkha Sacca and Rupa of an Arahant is also included? Okay, so let's go back to the previous slide. So here, what we classified under the Noble Truths are all of the ultimate realities under Abhyakata Dhamma. So this is not particularly in relation to an Arahant. Even if it was, still it would be classified in the same way, because Rupa are always mundane, regardless of whether that individual is an Arahant or not. So Rupa, because it's a mundane reality, it is classified under Dukkha Sacca. And the Kriya Chitta, indeed the Kriya Chitta, out of the 20 Kriya Chitta, we get 18 that are specifically arising in Arahants. So, yes, so 18. So these Kriya Chitta are also mundane Chitta. That is why they are classified under Dukkha Sacca, which is a mundane ultimate, which are a mundane truth. So regardless of whether these Chitta Chetasika arise in a Arahant or a person who has not become an enlightened person, we classify these ultimate realities in the same manner as mundane or supramundane, depending on what they are. So we had a few questions from last week. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so let's go through those questions. The first question was, why aren't the 8 factors deducted when calculating the Chittupada, risings of consciousness, occurring in Palachitta, fruition consciousness? So let's look at this chart. Now, we said outside the scope of the Noble Truths, when we were talking about the Sabbāttika Mātika, that there are 29 Chittupada occurring in the Magga Chitta and 37 Chittupada occurring in the Phala Chitta. Now, under Magga Chitta, we classified only 29 Chittupada. That is because 8 of the Chetasika are path factors. And these Maggangani of path factors were classified under the 4th Noble Truth. Therefore, we are left with 1 Magga Chitta and 28 Chetasika. 28 plus 1, we get 29 Chittupada. However, when we speak of the Phala Chitta, we don't do any deduction of that sort. We take all 36 together. Now, why is this? This is because the 8 Magganga have a specific function. That is to eliminate defilements. That is why it is called Magga Sacca. However, the Phala Chitta and Chetasika, they don't have the function of eliminating defilements. So they are not part of the Magga Sacca. So those corresponding Chetasika in the Phala Chitta, that is the Chetasika that corresponds to the Maggangani in the Magga Chitta, are not called Magganga. So because they don't perform the function of eliminating defilements, they are not deducted from those 36 Chetasika. So that is why when we calculate the Phala Chittupada, we take all 36 Cetasika together and add 1 for the Phala Chitta, and we get a total of 37 Chittupada.
那我们来看这个，讲一下看这个那这边看到我们之前呢，在学习这个一切有论母的时候，就是把所有的究竟法来做这个分类的时候，针对圣谛的时候呢，我们就有提到说，属于圣谛范围之外的有这2种情况。第一个呢，就是在道心刹那升起的29种名法，以及呢，在果心刹那升起的37种名法。那道心刹那升起的只有29，那果心却有37。那之间的差别呢，就是在道心刹那升起的里面呢，要扣除了8种心所，这8种心所呢，也是就是对应于8种道智，因为8种道智呢是已经是把它归类于第3的这个灭圣谛之中了，所以就不再是属于圣谛范围之外，所以呢，必须把这8种道智扣除，我们就只有剩下呢1种道心跟剩余的28种心所。总共呢，在道心刹那升起的就这29种名法呢，是属于圣谛范围之外的。可是呢，在果心的时候呢，果心刹那的时候呢，由于那8种倒是没有被扣除出来呢，所以呢，它就是完全的所有的36种心所呢，跟果心一起，所以的在果心刹那升起的37种名法呢，都是属于在圣谛范围之外。那为什么这样呢？为什么在果心刹那时候没有扣除这8种跟道智同样是相应的这心所呢？那这边老师呢再给详细的解释，因为在道心刹那时候升起的这8种属于道智这些心所呢，有它特定的这个作用，就是呢在道心升起的时候，他们要就是以道智的这个作用呢，将相应的相对的这些烦恼呢，要将它去除舍断。可是呢，到了果心跟果心相应的心所的时候呢，却没有这个断除烦恼的这样的作用。因此呢，因为他们没有断除烦恼，所以呢，他们不是属于这个道谛就是的内容。那因此我们看到在这个果心里面，虽然同样的呢也有这样的心所，就比如说在道心里面属于道智的，我们有这个智慧心所相应于正见，寻心所相应于正思维等等。在果心里面也有这些心所，可是这些心所呢，因为没有起这个断除烦恼的作用，因此呢，他们不被称为道智，也不需要呢。因此呢，因为它不称为道智，也没有起这个断除烦恼的作用，所以没有被归纳于道谛之中，所以他们都是属于圣谛之外的，没有被扣除出来。所以呢，这样呢，我们看到果心以及与它相应的所有36种心所呢，都没有包含在圣谛的范围之内，因此我们在计算这个在圣谛范围之外的时候呢，当我们看到在果心刹那升起的这些名法的时候呢，我们就没有扣除这8种，就把1种果心跟所有相应的36种心所全部加起来，就是在果心刹那的升起的这37种名法呢，都是属于圣谛范围之外的。
The next question. It is mentioned that there are 29 Chittupada occurring in the Magga Chitta that are outside the scope of the Noble Truths. Is it always 29 or can it be a different number considering the different jhana? So for this, we need to look at this table. And here we have on the far left column, the jhanas. The second column gives the different jhana factors. And the third column, number of total Cetasika that arises together with this Magga Chitta. And the fourth column is the number of path factors. And finally, the Chittupada that we get is in the last column. So under the first jhana, because we have all 5 jhana factors, the total number of Cetasika is 36. And the total number of path factors would be 8. So when we consider the Chittupada that are outside the scope of the Noble Truths, what we get is 36 minus 8, which is 28. However, when we consider the second jhana, because vitakka is eliminated, vitakka is samma sankappa, we need to deduct that mental factor. So the total number of Cetasika will now be 35, and the total number of path factors will be 7. So how we got that 7 was 8 minus samma sankappa. So if we want to calculate the chittupada that are outside the noble truths, then we need to deduct 7 from 35. That is 28. So in relation to the second jhana, we get 28. Then for the third jhana, both vitakka and vichara are deducted. So from the total number of cetasika, we have to deduct those two. So 36 minus 2 is 34. Again here, only samma sankappa or vitakka is the path factor. So again, we get 7 path factors. So we get 34 minus 7 equals 27 chittupada that are outside the scope of noble truths. Next is the fourth jhana. Here, in addition to vitakka and vichara, piti is also eliminated. So one more is deducted from the total. So 36 minus 3 is 33. However, the path factors are still 7 because only samma sankappa is deducted. So 33 minus 7 equals 26. Those are the chittupada that are outside the noble truths. Finally, we get the fifth jhana. And as you can see, there is no change in the numbers. This is because Sukha Vedana is merely converted to Upekka when you move from the fourth to the fifth jhana. So there is no change in any of the numbers. So we get a total of 33 cetasika and a total of 7 path factors and 26 chittupada coming, or 26 mental factors which are classified as outside the scope of noble truths. Now remember, when we are calculating the chittupada, you need to add the chitta to each of these numbers. So for first jhana, 28 plus 1, you get 29. For second jhana, again, 28 plus 1, 29. Third jhana, 27 plus 1, 28. Fourth jhana and fifth jhana will be 26 plus 1, 27. And that is how you get the different numbers. So the number of chittupada therefore will differ depending on the jhana. Here, what we consider, or the number that we consider, is the maximum number of chittupada for any given term. So for example, if you take Kusala Dhamma, because you get all of the Magga Chitta, all 4, including all of their jhanas, we take the number as 29. But there are some Matika or some terms in which you get different numbers, and we will be discussing them during those relevant Matika lessons. The next question. Here, what is asked is basically, now we explained that from the second Lokuttara Jhana onwards, only 7 Magganga are present. So the question asks whether, based on previous study of the Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha, whether all 8 should work together in the Magga Chitta, all 8 path factors. Because the question is asked because vitakka is needed to contemplate on the 3 characteristics, that is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Now, let's see what the answer is to this question. Right, so first we need to see how a Magga Chitta is developed. So there are 2 ways of developing a Magga Chitta. One is through pure Vipassana meditation, where the person who is meditating has not developed any other mundane jhanas, either fine material or immaterial sphere jhanas. The second method is called Samatha Vipassana meditation. And this is where a person first develops mundane jhanas, either fine material, rupavachara, or immaterial, arupavachara jhanas. And then subsequently, starts vipassana meditation and achieves the magga chitta. And that is what we call samatha vipassana. So there are basically two ways of developing magga chitta: pure vipassana method or samatha vipassana method. So, as I mentioned before, the first method, the pure vipassana method, is the form which are done by the yogis who have not previously acquired any mundane jhanas. So, they have not developed any rupavachara or arupavachara jhanas. So, they straight away go on into vipassana meditation, and if they develop a magga chitta, it will always be of the first jhana, having all 5 jhana factors, including vitakka. Therefore, for this form of meditation, because they are always the first jhana that they acquire, it will have all 8 path factors arising together with that chitta. However, in the second method, for an individual who has previously acquired either rupavachara or arupavachara jhana, depending on the highest jhana that yogi has obtained, the yogi is able to acquire a magga chitta of a higher jhana. So, for example, if a yogi has developed the rupavachara second jhana, he is able to develop a magga chitta of the second jhana. So, to understand this, let's look at a chitta vidhi. So, here first we have given 2 absorption jhana processes. The first one is where you get the rupavachara or rupavachara jhanas, and then the second one is the lokuttara, the path and the fruit, how it's attained. So given here as PRACCNCH, those are the 4 kamavachara chittas, which are parikarma, upachara, anuloma, and gotrabhu. Those 4 chittas are kamavachara kusala chitta. So we'll discuss that in the next slide. So the 4 chittas which are preceding the jhana or the magga chitta are the parikamma, upachara, anuloma, and gotrabhu chitta. These are all kamavachara kusala chitta that contain panya. The first 3 kamavachara kusala chitta, that is the parikamma, upachara, and anuloma chittas, they are the ones that do the contemplation of either anicca, dukkha, or anatta, depending on which form of vipassana that person is focusing on. The 4th kamavachara kusala chitta takes nibbana as its object. So all 4 kamavachara kusala chitta have vitakka cetasika. So now we mentioned that the contemplation is done by the first 3 kamavachara kusala chittas. So they have vitakka, so they are able to take on the object and contemplate on it. However, the magga chitta can be of any jhana, depending on which jhana there may or may not be vitakka or samma sankappa. Now here the magga chitta is not doing the contemplation. Instead, the object of the magga chitta is nibbana. And unlike the kamavachara kusala chittas, it doesn't contemplate on the anicca, dukkha, anatta. So that is why, unlike the kamavachara kusala chitta, which requires the vitakka cetasika for the contemplation, the magga chitta, which focuses on nibbana, can take the form of any jhana. So depending on the jhana, if it's a first jhana, it will have vitakka, and from the 2nd to the 5th jhana onwards, it will not have vitakka. That is why you get the 8 or 7 path factors when we talk about the magga sacca. So the next question, this was actually asked in the WhatsApp group chat. When classifying the ultimate realities according to ariya sacca method, the lobha cetasika is included in samudaya sacca, which is in accordance with the suttas, where Buddha mentioned that craving is the origin of suffering. Because Lobha Chetasika is included in Samudaya Sacca, therefore it's taken out from the Dukkha Sacca. But I'm wondering, is it possible to consider the Lobha Chetasika as included in the Dukkha Sacca as well? At the same time, by way of meaning, in the sense that Lobha Chetasika is also a conditioned reality. So, to answer this question, we must first see how to categorize the ultimate realities under either conditioned or unconditioned ultimate realities. So, the conditioned realities are the 28 Rupa, 89 Chitta, all 89, regardless of whether they are mundane or supramundane, and the 52 Chetasika that arises together with them. And there is only one unconditioned reality, that is Nibbana. So this table gives the Four Noble Truths and how they are classified either as conditioned or unconditioned. And as you can see, only the third one, which is the Dukkha Nirodhaṃ Ariya Sacca, is unconditioned, that is Nibbana. Everything else, the first, second, and fourth, contain ultimate realities that are conditioned. So therefore, the Four Noble Truths, the basis of classifying ultimate realities under the Four Noble Truths is not based on whether they are conditioned or unconditioned. It's based on the Four Noble Truths, the meaning of those words itself. So taking the Dukkha Sacca, Samudaya Sacca, Nirodha Sacca, and the Magga Sacca, you need to take the essence of each of those terms and classify the ultimate realities based on the meaning of those, and not based on whether they are conditioned or unconditioned. That is why Lobha Chetasika was classified under Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sacca and not under Dukkha Ariya Sacca. Now, there is another method of classifying Dukkha Samudaya Sacca. I will briefly mention this. This classification is given in the next pakaraṇa, which is the Vibhanga Prakarana, under the Sacca Vibhanga. And here, now, in the slide before, we mentioned that Lobha Chetasika or Tanha is classified as Samudaya Sacca. But in the Vibhanga Prakarana, it goes into another extensive classification where they show 5 ways of classifying this Samudaya Sacca. The first is taking into consideration only Lobha Chetasika. That's the first one. The second one takes into account not only Lobha, but also the remaining kilesa. Then the third one takes into account the Lobha Chetasika remaining defilements and the remaining akusala dhamma, that is the chitta and the other Chetasika which are not considered as kilesa. The fourth one and the fifth one, that's interesting. Now here it takes into account not only the akusala states, but also the kusala states. The kusala, not the supramundane kusala, but the mundane ones, which is why it is termed as sāsava kusala dhamma. Sāsava kusala dhamma are the mundane kusala dhamma. So this is a different way of classifying Dukkha Samudaya Sacca, because basically everything mundane is Dukkha. So whether it is akusala or whether it is kusala, if it's mundane, it is Dukkha. So this is a different way of classifying Samudaya Sacca, and based on that, what you get for Dukkha Sacca will differ. For instance, in the first category, you get Lobha as Samudaya, and the remaining categories all will fall under Dukkha Sacca. Under the second one, because you took Lobha and the remaining defilements as Samudaya Sacca, whatever else, that is the remaining unwholesome states, the 3 wholesome roots, which are Sāsava, the mundane ones, and the remaining Sāsava, the mundane Kusala Dhamma, will be considered as Dukkha. And likewise, you get a different way of classifying Dukkha Samudaya Sacca. So now you must be wondering why the last three don't contribute to samudaya sacca. So let's look at these three. So first we have the vipaka, next we have the kriya, and finally we have rupa. All of these are abhyakata dhamma. In other words, they do not give rise to any results. So generating a vipaka chitta or generating a kriya chitta or the rupa, they don't produce any results. So that is why they are not part of samudaya sacca. However, if you take the first three, they are akusala dhamma. The second two are kusala dhamma. Both akusala dhamma and kusala dhamma are able to produce results. That's why they are considered as able to be the cause of suffering, and the remaining states, therefore, will be the suffering itself. So the first five, the akusala dhamma and the kusala dhamma, are able to produce results which are dukkha sacca. The next question, it's mentioned that the Sabbattika Mātika's reference can't be traced back to any commentaries or sub-commentaries. So does it mean that the Mātika is not the invention of Acharya Anuruddha introduced through his Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha, and he's just utilizing this method which has been existed for a long time and used by long lineage of bhikkhus? Because having learned that method from the Sanghaha, I instinctively assume that it's his invention, thinking that it's the fruit of his effort summarizing the ultimate realities taught in the Abhidhamma Pitaka. So the Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha was written by Acharya Anuruddha over 500 years ago. And the basis of the Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha are all the teachings in the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the commentaries and the sub-commentaries. And it's basically a systemized summary of all the main facts, the salient facts in these books. And therefore, it is not a invention, or it is not a new creation of Acharya Anuruddha. It's merely a systemized summary of what was taught in all of the Abhidhamma, in the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the commentaries and the sub-commentaries. References for the Sabbattika Mātika is not mentioned in any of the commentaries or the sub-commentaries, and it has been utilized by generations of bhikkhus and may have been utilized as a method even at the time of Acharya Anuruddha. But we don't have any evidence to say whether this was before the Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha was written or whether it was after. We basically don't know when the Sabbattika Mātika came into use. The last question. The Abhyakata Dhamma, the ultimate realities are mentioned here. And the question is, these 38 Cetasika are the Cetasika that are associated with 36 Vipaka and 20 Kriya Chitta, meaning they assume the quality of the Chitta they associate with, hence making them indeterminate. Therefore, by themselves, the Cetasika are not Abhyakata. And what about the 13 ethically variables? Are they by themselves indeterminates? So first we need to look at the 52 Cetasika and how they are classified under the three main groups. We get the ethically variable, that's 13, and then we have 14 unwholesome and 25 beautiful. The ethically variable factors are the factors that arise in all four kinds of chitta. They are the kusala, akusala, and vipaka and kriya chitta. So basically those 13 factors arise in all four kinds of chitta. So depending on the type of chitta that they are associated with, they will be either kusala, akusala, vipaka or kriya. But by themselves, they are neither kusala, akusala or abhyakata. So this is the reason why they are called ethically variable, because it varies depending on what chitta it is associated with. The unwholesome Cetasika, all 14 of them are always associated with an akusala chitta. So at all times they are unwholesome. So there is no division there. All 14 unwholesome Cetasika are unwholesome at all times. The beautiful Cetasika, again, are different. They can either be Kusala, Vipaka, or Kriya, depending on what kind of Chitta they are associated with. And all of these Chittas they are associated with are beautiful. The Kusala, the Vipaka, these are the Sahetuka Vipaka, the Vipaka with roots, and the Sahetuka Kriya, the Kriya with roots. They are all beautiful Chittas. Therefore, because these mental factors are associated with beautiful Chittas, they are called beautiful factors. But again, like the Anya Samana or the ethically variable Cetasika, the beautiful Cetasika also takes the form of the Chitta that they are associated with, either Kusala, Vipaka, or Kriya. So we'll take an example. If you consider the first Kamavachara Maha Vipaka Chitta, we get 13 ethically variable factors and certain beautiful Cetasika out of the 25. Why I say that is because not all 25 Cetasika arise together in one consciousness. All these mental factors, that's the 13 ethically variable and the Cetasika out of the 25 beautiful Cetasika, are called Vipaka Cetasika because they are associated with that Vipaka Chitta. So, in conclusion, ethically variable Cetasikas will take the type of the Chitta that they are associated with. Akasatta Chubumata Deva Naga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakantu Sasanang Chiran Rakantu Desanang Chiran Rakantu Mamparang Idamme Nyati Nang Hotu Sukita Hotu Nyateo Damme Nyati Nang Hotu Sukita Hotu Nyateo Damme Nyati Nang Hotu Sukita Hotu Nyateo Imina Punya Kammena Mame Bala Samagamo Satan Samagamo Hotu Yava Nibbana Pattiya Idamme Punyang Asavakya Vahang Hotu Idamme Punyang Nibbanasa Pachayo Hotu Mama Punya Bhagang Sabba Sattanam Pajemi Te Sabbe Me Samang Punya Bhagang Labantu Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tittatu Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tittatu Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tittatu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Doctor.